In this video, you'll learn the difference between strategic planning and operational planning. Sometimes these concepts are confused and teams may be thinking they're doing one when they're doing the other. I work with over 90 organizations and help them formulate strategy, right? This is really solidly in the strategic planning camp. And of course, with some of those teams, I then work to turn that into some kind of operational plan. I can tell you what the difference is, which one works for what situations, and how to really make the most out of either approach. And stick around for a simple distinction for how to quickly tell apart if you're looking at a strategic plan or some kind of operational plan. So strategic planning is really about an unknown future. That's the key distinction here. I talk about strategy often in this channel in multiple videos. There's no easy answers. You're dealing with multiple possibilities, tough conversations where people have different preferences or opinions, and there's probably some long-term focus here, at least years. This day strategy only really looks out maybe 1, 2, 3 years, but it is years nonetheless, right? If I give you an example of someone like Starbucks, which I covered before in another video, Starbucks has all these multiple possibilities, right? What do they do with labor? How do they deal with unions? What happens to their stores that are being forced to be more takeout order business versus not? Interesting enough, if you look at McDonald's, some of the new stores McDonald's is putting out, like the new chain called Cosmos, right? The space themed chain, actually is primarily takeout. So this is a big trend that's going on in this kind of industry. So this is the strategy, the strategic plan, and Starbucks has to go through to deal with this unknown future, this multiple possibilities. It's a perfect fit for that. On the other hand, we have operational planning, and this is about a known future, right? The answers are easier, or at least more straightforward. The conversations are easier. You're not debating multiple possibilities. You're likely just debating 1 or 2 approaches at most, or maybe just the best way to go about something. It's a short time frame. We're talking about days, weeks, maybe months, but definitely shorter than a strategic plan. And the operational plan really follows from some kind of strategic plan. If we go back to our previous example, once Starbucks decides what to do with labor or what to do about stores, then it gets translated into an operational plan that says, here's the first thing we'll do, here's the second thing we'll do, and the third thing we'll do, and this is our time frame for the next 6 months, and then we'll revisit and compare it to where we want to be with a strategic plan, right? So they are 2 sides of the same coin, we might say. They go together, but you want to make sure that you're using the right one, right? So here's the pitfalls that can come from them. First, you want to use the right language, right? You cannot go into a strategy and just say, okay, here's the plan for the next 6 months, step 1, step 2, step 3. You're not really doing strategy. You're just doing some kind of operational plan. Strategy means that you're exploring the possibilities and you're discarding possibilities, which means that your operational plan will be drastically different dependent on what comes up during the strategy. So if you go through a strategic planning session and nothing changes after, then you really didn't do strategy. It was just really a glorified operational planning session, which may be what's needed. I'm not debating that, but it's not strategy. I always think about the strategies about being able to imagine a completely new future, a completely new branch of that future and what it takes to get there. And the operational is the steps along that branch, right? But if you come in with a preconceived notion of what branch you should go to, if you say, this is the branch we're going to take, and how do we do that? You're just doing operational planning, right? And then some companies, I look at startups, technology companies, they don't really do strategic planning in the way larger organizations do. They kind of just go, right? They kind of just do things. They move very quickly in a sort of agile fashion. But they're not really doing strategy. They're just doing operational planning, week by week, month by month, whatever time they take. And that's completely fine. It makes sense for that situation. But just be aware of which one you're actually using and what is the right approach in this situation. That's all I have for today. My name is Ruben Garte. I'm an expert in strategic decisions. And today we spent a little bit of time looking at the strategic plan versus an operational plan and how they both fit together and the right situations for either one. In the description box below, there'll be 3 links or 3 things I want you to check out. First is my newsletter on Substack. I really enjoy this newsletter. It goes out every Tuesday. I cover similar ideas around strategy and operations and the future. So check that out. It's free. I think you'll enjoy it. Second, there's a link to my website contact form. If you're interested in creating a strategic plan or if you think you're doing an operational plan but you need to do strategy, get in touch. I'd love to talk. I can share a few ideas that can help your team really do strategy much more effectively, and then be able to translate that into an even more effective operational plan. And finally, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you thought about this video, what idea stood out to you. You can let me know in the comments. And until next time, talk soon.